the X-Wing started to open. I was like, oh, I know what that means.
I forgot how
Hello, it is Zach with a podcast named Tim here with another movie review. That's one of the many things we do here on the channel and on the podcast. If you have not done so, please do give the video a thumbs up and, of course, subscribe both to the YouTube channel and to the audio podcast. This is kind of an episode that's just going to be here on YouTube, but again, every week we do 2 to 3 movies a week for our podcast where we review a large variety of movies, and I have a link in the description below if you want to check out basically everywhere we are, which is everywhere. John Wick is going to be what we're talking about today. I had never seen it before until this last weekend, and or of this recording yesterday, and absolutely love the film. Just gonna go straight into it because it was excellent. What to even say? I mean, look, it's already, everyone knows who has seen this. It's been a critical and commercial success, but what an excellent film, and I'll explain why I appreciate it, but I'm sure it's the same reasons that you do as well. But it felt wrong to not watch this movie or to watch this movie and not comment on it. But little facts about it, of course, came out in 2014, starring Keanu Reeves, has a 7.4 on IMDb currently, with an 86 tomato meter and an 81 on the audience score. And of course, it tells a story about a assassin or bounty hunter, whatever you want to call him, a hitman who is out of the game, and when I don't think this is a spoiler, but there may be some spoilers coming, but his dog is killed, and because of that, he wants to seek revenge and kind of gets back into the game in some respects in order to take care of business. And that's the big thing I want to talk about first, is the plot. Going into this movie, I knew 3 things, I guess. I knew there was supposed to be a lot of really good action, which there was. Keanu Reeves was in it, and that it revolved around his dog being killed. And you kind of think, you hear that and you kind of think, all right, it's going to be, they're going to insert dumb plot so we can get to awesome action, which is fine. That happens in some action movies. But I couldn't have been further from the truth. It was a meaningful plot that had a point. You know, the dog that is murdered is the last gift of his wife, who pulled him out of this, you know, he left this business to try and make himself a better person for her. She died unexpectedly of some kind of disease. I think it was cancer, I want to say. And then this was her last gift to him. It was I'm assuming it was in her will as something she put in to help him grieve for her death. So just holy shit. You know, that is a great plot. Obviously shitty, and the second, I mean, obviously when your villain kills a dog, you're gonna want to see them get killed. That's if I can use a wrestling terminology, it's an easy way to get heat. But what a vile person. You immediately were just rooting for John Wick, and you're like, I want this person to be murdered because they're terrible. And you're just waiting for him to get his revenge. And that he does. He brings down everyone. He just goes on this incredible warpath of destruction. And the action in this movie was fantastic. It had this almost, if you've ever seen Equilibrium, when they talk about gun fu, it had like a gun fu feel, because all of the shots were so crisp and direct, and just so many headshots, and they were just so structured in his movement, and I mean that in a good way. That it kind of had that kind of feel, like I said, that gun fu kind of feel. So he's just headshotting everyone, and when he's not, the thing that really sold the movie for me was not those gunshots, which were excellent, were just the actual physical combat. Because there's a scene that I remember where they're fighting on the ground, and it's a movie that took its time with its brutality in those sequences, because you could have easily, gotten to the floor and they could have said, he's a badass assassin and he's going to take someone out immediately, but they didn't. They made more of a struggle and they created a storyline in those fights. There's one when they're at the club, which the club scene, beautiful, excellent, just well done. But they're at the club. He's fighting a guy. They're fighting over a knife. Who's going to stab who? And you have John basically pointing it out into this guy's heart and just repeatedly hammering his own fist in, and just the brutality and the physicalness and the effort it took for everything just added an extra layer to the action and like I said, the brutality of it. So just an excellent film. A lot of the stuff where he was doing a lot of the driving and guns as well just was excellent. And they did a great job of putting John Wick over as a character, even before we saw him get into action, calling him the boogeyman and the man you send to kill the boogeyman and stuff. And that's, so they put him over. But the thing that I think takes the movie to another level, great plot, great action, but you can get those in a lot of action movies. Obviously, they're going to have great action. If you get a good plot, hey, you're doing well. But the thing that takes it to the next level for me is the lore that was created. And there's not too many action movies that create lore. In this universe, you have a very interesting dynamic of rules that these hitmen have to play by. And just that whole infrastructure behind that, I wanted to know so much more about, and that was what brought me in even more, because you had the Continental, which is a hotel, which is kind of a safe zone. It's a Highlander situation. You're on holy ground. You can't do anything here. You can't do business here. It's a place to be safe and, get your wounds tended to and have a drink and stuff, and just the whole dynamics of that, and the gold coins. I don't know if you get those per kill or how that works, but just the gold coin system, all of it, just the lore that it created was fascinating. I know there've been discussions, and I don't know if it's in production yet, of a show about the Continental. Absolutely down for it. We will certainly be discussing at some point, either on here or on the actual podcast, John Wick 2, 3, and 4, because this was amazing. It's in some respects genre defining, because we haven't had a really, really good, like, epic action movie like this in a long time. And just excellent, beautifully shot, good, a lot of good colors. I told my wife there was a lot of good colors to the film, because they had that kind of that toned down gray look that you would get in some of these films. But when they went to the night scene and you had the neon lights and everything else, just excellent film. Could not recommend it more. And if you're watching this video, you probably already know. You're just, let's watch this other person talk about how great the film is. So, go, if you've not seen this, watch it. And the second it ended, unfortunately, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that when it ended. But I was amped and I was ready to watch John Wick 2. So I might get to that very quickly. But that's my thoughts on John Wick. Again, just felt the need that could not watch this movie and not comment on it. And I can't wait to discuss it more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, do subscribe. Thumbs up, subscribe to the audio podcast as well. It does a lot to help us out. And we'll see you next time here on a podcast named Tim.